As Chief Faculty Marshal, I now declare this convocation officially open. The ceremony will be officiated by W. Taylor Reevely IV, the 26th President of Longwood University. Please remain standing for the national anthem led by Kathleen Lucas, class of 2019, the posting of the colors by the ROTC Color Guard, and a reflection by Hannah Prim, senior class vice president.
You may post the colors.
Thank you, sir.
Today, I would like to share the following poem, It Couldn't Be Done, by Edgar Albert Guest. Somebody said that it couldn't be done, but he with a chuckle replied that maybe it couldn't be done, but he would be the one who wouldn't say so till he tried. So he buckled right in with the trace of a grin on his face. If he worried, he hid it. He started to sing as he tackled the thing that couldn't be done, and he did it. Someone scoffed. Oh, you'll never do that. At least, no one ever has done it. But he took off his coat and he took off his hat. And the first thing we knew, he'd begun it. With a lift of his chin and a bit of a grin, without any doubting or quit it, he started to sing as he tackled the thing that couldn't be done, and he did it. There are thousands to tell you it cannot be done. There are thousands to prophesy failure. There are thousands to point out to you one by one the dangers that wait to assail you. But just buckle in with a bit of a grin. Just take off your coat and go to it. Just start to sing as you tackle the thing that cannot be done, and you'll do it. Class of 2019, you stand here today by friends, family, alumni, and loved ones for one reason, and that reason is you did it. You earned this special moment, so be proud and smile broadly as you buckle down for this final year. As we take time to reflect upon these past few years at Longwood, we think about the amazing memories created. Remember our first LSIM class, swimming in Ruffner Fountain, or crown hopping? These memories and many more have helped shape us into the citizen leaders we are today. hold on to those special memories. Let's also take time to remember those times when we are terrified with the idea of failure. Late night studying for hours in the Greenwood Library, crying over the bad grade in the one class that just seemed a little too impossible. I encourage us all not to forget those memories either. We must acknowledge all the times that we thought it couldn't be done, but yet we all still did it. And now, class of 2019, let's all lift our chins with a bit of a grin because it's time for our senior year. Thank you.
Please be seated. Thank you, Hannah. Thank you, Kathleen. It is magnificent to peer out and see everybody. Convocation here at Longwood is one of our joyful and grand traditions, ceremonially marking the beginning of the year. And to everyone, Hurricane Strong gathered today, seniors especially, I want to say thank you for your determination and spirit to be here. This hurricane really has been a mess, though it is moving away from us. Campus is ready as we send prayers to the Carolinas too. And I want to particularly say thank you to everyone who has advocated powerfully over recent days for how important convocation is and helped think creatively about how to make the complex logistics of it work in a complex week. Perseverance is a virtue. Convocation really is a ceremonial juncture that captures the essence of this place. We gather to bestow awards upon our splendid faculty arrayed before you, and we gather to honor our seniors, the great class of 2019. As you set out on your culminating semesters of college at the alma mater. Tradition matters at Longwood, matters enormously, as it has at the institution throughout all the decades and centuries as we have marched now to our 180th year. The tradition of the classroom, a sacred space that we celebrate and nurture, is evident in our keynote speaker today, the incomparable Dr. Bill Harbour, who began with some Harbors gathered in the front row too, who began his career here at Longwood, get this, in 1976, and retires this spring, and whom I will extol and introduce in just a few minutes. And our tradition of citizen leadership is greatly evident in the devoted service of our board leaders. Our governing board, the Board of Visitors, is with us today. Rector Mary Ann Radcliffe, class of 92, and board members Eileen Anderson, class of 83, Catherine Bond, class of 98, Mike Evans, Stephen Gould, David Halleck, Eric Hansen, our vice rector, Colleen Margoloff, class of 97, our prior rector, Nadine Marsh-Carter, Larry Palmer, Polly Rabel, class of 91, Rashawn Adkins-Roan, and Pia Trigiani. Watch them all carefully. There may be some capping action up here too. And today we are also honored to have with us the president of our foundation board, Mike Lewandowski, and the president of our alumni association, Tammy Jones, class of 81. And as we formally begin this academic year, assembled as an academic community, the main event, of course, which we will get to in stately steps, is the elaborate and gleeful capping that has become a Lancer rite of passage. Those of you who have not witnessed it before, it is a sight to behold. So, let's duly begin our progress through the ceremonial acts of this celebration day. And in that regard, I have the great honor of inviting to the podium our rector, Mary Ann Radcliffe, class of '92. Madam Rector.
Good afternoon. As board members, this is one of our favorite days. It's always special to see students enjoying a Longwood tradition, and it's wonderful to be able to celebrate superb faculty for the hard work and meaning that they bring to your lives. Today, you will hear from one of them, and one that is dear to me personally, Dr. Bill Harbour. Perhaps you or your friends were in one of his many political science classes that he's taught while you've been here. There is something unique that Dr. Harbour has in common with the tenor of Longwood's Convocation. It's a charming zest for life. I first had Bill Harbour as a professor my sophomore year. I was a little embarrassed for him when he first started speaking to us about Plato and Aristotle. He was so enthusiastic, and we were so unenthusiastic. At first, I wanted to roll my eyes and slump down in my seat and avoid eye contact, like I'd always done in similar situations. That was who I was, going through the motions, unduly concerned about what everyone around me thought, and decidedly unengaged in the process of learning. But how could I let this guy down? He wanted so badly for us to understand, to grasp what he was saying, to see the importance and relevance of what he had to share with us. How could I say no to this gift of enthusiasm and knowledge? That class and the ones that followed, they changed me. And even if you haven't had Bill Harbour, I know you've had access to someone that shares these characteristics. Someone who stood at the front of your classrooms and engaged your mind, who worked side by side with you, who peered over your shoulder at your labs and gave you their all. I learned countless things from Bill Harbour. I really did, things I use every day. But most importantly, he taught me this: there is much to do and no time to waste. No compelling reason not that you should not throw yourself into your life with all that you've got. You owe that to yourself. Your senior year is still largely before you. Enjoy it, gain value from it, contribute during it. Between now and May, take every opportunity to make the most of each moment, and always be willing to go the extra mile for yourself and for others. This student body is comprised of smart, caring, and tenacious individuals. As citizen leaders, you'll be ready to be of service to your communities, exhibit strong values of honesty and integrity, and possess a commitment to lifelong learning. The Board of Visitors extends to each of you our very best wishes for a wonderful senior year.
Thank you, Madam Rector. Let me continue with the extolling of our keynote speaker. I am deeply honored to introduce as our speaker one of Longwood's great professors, great people, one of my great friends, Dr. Bill Harbour. Since 1976, 42 years, Bill has been at the heart of Longwood, widely known and loved as a challenging professor, a sharp wit, and astute mentor to so many, very much including our rector. I have seen all of this in action myself, as I have had the pleasure of teaching with Bill each fall, over the whole fall semester, our course on the U.S. presidency. We don't have much to talk about these days. And as I've watched him in the classroom, marveled at times, I've come to see why so many of our students are so deeply impacted by his teaching and mentoring. I've seen the skill, sharpened over the decades, with which he guides them to a deeper understanding of our political system in classes ranging from political philosophy, all that Plato and Aristotle, to American foreign policy, homeland security. When I think of Longwood at its best, it is faculty like Bill, often Bill himself, who come to mind, for the impact they have, the mark they leave. And I'm grateful not just for his impact on students, though for that I am very grateful, but also his impact as a leading citizen of our broader academic community, where he has been a great colleague to so many and powerful advocate, including as a department chair, and for the veterans as an instrumental force going back many years in the organization of teaching faculty, the famed OTF, the precursor to the Faculty Senate, in which he has served with great vigor too. And Bill was also an indispensable part of the success of the 2016 vice presidential debate, the idea for which actually came from a class discussion once upon a time long ago in our presidency class. That year, it was a great pleasure for me to see him share his expertise on the presidency in front of the national media. As I like to note in class, Bill began his teaching career at Longwood when Gerald Ford was president, 76. And wonky aside, that was also the year of the first vice presidential debate. His impact since is wide, deep, and profound. And when he wraps up next semester, which is still difficult for me to believe, and begins to enjoy a well-deserved retirement, some more aggressive gardening, and perhaps some even greater trips with Lily, we will miss him incredibly dearly. But I am so pleased he is ready to regale us today, share a bit of the storehouse of wisdom he has gathered. My great friend, Dr. Bill Harbour.
After all that, I don't know what to say. It occurred to me, though, Mary Ann, maybe I can talk to the registrar about changing one of those grades up. Okay? And President Reevely, you know, sometimes I'm not very reverent. It occurred to me, among your many accomplishments, you've never told us that you went to Trump University and got a degree in exaggeration. Thank you. Thank you. I was going to say hyperbole, but my son Matthew said not to use big words. And that unlike the lectures he used to get, I cannot talk for 2 hours. I have to keep it short. I guess it's kind of like being in the classroom today. I'm the only person standing in the way of a lot of people having fun. Seniors, we're here to celebrate you today and everything you've been doing these past years. You worked hard for 3 years, maybe 4, maybe 5, but you're here in your last year at Longwood. Truly, you are a gifted bunch. It took me 42 years to get to my last year at Longwood. So I congratulate you on your efforts. Early this morning, Dr. Abrams, who teaches math, maybe some of you have had him, came by my office to explain he was so upset he planned to boycott Convocation because we couldn't have class on Friday. That's the kind of person he is. But he said he was going to attend anyway because he wanted to hear me say something important. And I told him that having never been guilty of such a thing in 42 years, I'm not going to start today. Think of everything you've done. It's pretty darn amazing. But I want you to think also about your first year here at Longwood. How you felt. Your fears, your excitement. You might recall among your friends this week and before graduation the conversations you had. Why am I here? Am I going to graduate? Do I like my major? Should I change my major? What am I going to do with my life? What's going to happen to the boyfriend or girlfriend I left behind in high school or went to another school? All those things. All those things. And why do professors get together and schedule exams on the same day? But I know, seniors, you like to tell stories about each other. And thinking back on those years, you may have met that first semester some freshmen who, well, for various reasons, aren't here today. Winners of the Darwin Award. And I've heard you tell some stories about some of your once-upon-a-time freshmen. The pre-med student who was upset about taking a course in biology. The student who had the calculator and didn't understand why he had to take a course in mathematics. The history student who couldn't understand why professors talked about so many people who were alive before he was even born. Or that kid who said, if English was good enough for Jesus, why do I have to take a foreign language? Our job has been to torture you, and we in the faculty have enjoyed every single minute of it. Last spring, I heard my colleague, Dr. Ferguson, our provost, give a very impassioned speech to a group of graduating majors in our department. And she talked about thinking about history in terms of the human experience. So for seniors today, celebrating this long tradition at Longwood, I want you to think about other seniors, their lives, and the world in which they lived in their senior year at Longwood. My hero, Dr. David Coles, he told me to say that, told me the other day that this week, 100 years ago, in 1918, the American Expeditionary Force in France launched the last great campaign of the war, the Meuse-Argonne Offensive. I've also read that of the 1 million men this country sent to Europe to fight in that horrible conflict, about 1/4, get your calculators out, about 25%, about 25% of those people who went to fight there were not born in the United States. Not born in the United States. They or their parents had come to this country with the hope shared by all human beings to find a better life. And if you were to take time to read newspapers in the early part of that century, you would discover some of the most famous leading politicians of both parties saying certain things about those people. That they were dirty. They had weird last names. They did not speak English. Their neighborhoods were infested with crime. They would dilute the racial purity of the country, and American democracy would never be the same again. A very popular speech once upon a time. If you read about that military campaign, evidently some Germans were confused. Some of the German units thought they were fighting Italians, and other units thought they were fighting Poles. They were fighting Americans. They were fighting Americans. But move ahead in time. Think about Longwood seniors and their world 50 years ago, 1968. Wow. What had they seen during their time at Longwood? An endless controversy about a far-away war. Cities that had erupted in major riots. Massive demonstrations at the Democratic Convention in Chicago, in which the police, as later reported in a commission appointed by the President of the United States, the police engaged in a police riot in beating up the demonstrators. Wow. Wow. But I like to think of 1976, which Dr. Reevely has pointed out is the year I came here. What about the seniors of that year? What a world for them. No cable TV. They had to do their papers on typewriters. They had to go to classrooms in Ruffner and Granger that did not have air conditioning. But there was one good thing the seniors got to experience in the fall of 1976. It was the year males were admitted as residential students. So for the first time, guys could sleep overnight in the dorms legally. But for the seniors in 1976, think of their lives and the world around them a few years before when they came to Longwood. The Watergate crisis. The long saga of a president who had obstructed justice, who had lied, endless investigations, a president who became more and more paranoid, a president who tried to stop the investigation whenever he could, a president who railed against the press as the enemy of the people, a president who, in looking at his political opponents, did not see them as Americans, but viewed them as enemies and had an enemies list. But fortunately for the seniors of 1976, by the beginning of their senior year, all was well. Things had calmed down. You had a presidential campaign that by today's standards had to be the most boring campaign in history, thank God. Two people running for president, Gerald Ford and Jimmy Carter. And you know, their loyal Republican and Democratic adversaries argued about that, debated the issues, they disagreed with each other, but people on both sides of the aisle saw in those two individuals of unquestionable integrity. There was no fear that if one was elected, all hell would break loose, and no desire on the other part to put the other candidate in jail. A different kind of election. And as for Gerald Ford, he had sacrificed his popularity, his chance to be elected, by pardoning Richard Nixon, a deeply unpopular decision. But years later, the Kennedy Foundation awarded him with the highest honor called the Profiles in Courage Award because he did what he thought was right for the country. He wasn't looking after himself. And for Jimmy Carter, think of his career. A person who, in running for president, decided to have to sell his family farm and business because he did not believe anyone who is president should ever give any possible appearance of conflict of interest. Two candidates, both of whom, having nothing to hide, made public their tax returns. Gerald Ford is gone, Jimmy Carter living in a home he's lived in all of his life, a modest home, builds houses for poor people. A different era. A different era. But think about the seniors 10 years ago. Some of you seniors today, perhaps you have jobs lined up already. Perhaps you're thinking, oh my, am I going to find a job? The seniors in 2008 who were at this ceremony had good reason to worry. The country was in the midst of the greatest recession since the Great Depression. There was fear we would have another Great Depression. But there was also a presidential campaign. And I think in the last couple of weeks, when so many of you listened to the memorials about John McCain, you've heard the stories. That in that campaign, when Obama and McCain squared off against each other, they each had enthusiastic followers who crossed the line. John McCain, in a rally, was confronted by a follower who was shaken, worried that Barack Obama wasn't really American. And he assured her he was American, he was a person who loved his country, but from his point of view, he simply had the wrong ideas. And Barack Obama, in many of his rallies, when John McCain's name was mentioned, said, let's stop that. We must honor a person who has given such service to this country. 10 years ago. 10 years ago. But let's move on. Okay? I want to talk about faculty and students for a moment. Your faculty not only likes teaching, they enjoy you. I have a suspicion that inside each faculty member is a kind of Dracula. A Dracula who feeds off your energy and enthusiasm for life. A Dracula who each day in the classroom in seeing you feels younger because you don't look in the mirror if you're a vampire. You look at those young faces and you imagine that somehow you've drinking from the fountain of youth or something like that. But for your faculty, I gotta say, being a faculty member is the greatest job in the world. There is nothing like it whatsoever. I see in my fellow faculty, some of whom I once had in class, and others who were once Longwood students here. I see their enthusiasm as they teach their students. Your faculty has a passion for learning, and so many of your seniors have picked up on that, and you will continue that throughout your whole life. As you look at the future, don't worry. This country has gone through civil wars, world wars, depressions, economic booms, economic decline. We will endure. I think we'll endure in part because of you seniors. One thing I've enjoyed in recent years, knowing so many students who I see disagree in class vigorously, they are friends. They respect each other. And I hope your generation can help restore some civility in our national life. You will do great things. Some of you have jobs already, but I tell you about alumni. Even the seniors who, when they graduate, don't have any idea in the world what they're going to do. A few years later, they come back with the most fantastic jobs. The niftiest thing about being a member of faculty is seeing those people return. And I know someday you'll return and tell your faculty members about the amazing things you've done. We love you. Have a great senior year.
You see some of the magic. Thank you so much, Bill. That was really, really wonderful. Really wonderful. Well, in that spirit, our next ceremonial act is to award some of our outstanding faculty for their achievements. Will our provost, Dr. Larissa Smith-Ferguson, please come forward to assist me with the faculty awards? These awards are a surprise, so I hope everybody is here. Award winners, when your name is called, please come forward to the stage to accept your award. There are 7 awards. Here is the first. I am pleased to present the Maria Bristow Stark Faculty Excellence Award. This award is made possible by an endowment created by the late Mr. Thomas J. Stark III. The award honors his mother, who was an honor graduate of the class of 1914, and later was president of the Alumni Association. The award recognizes excellence in scholarship, teaching, and other professional activities. The recipient of the Maria Bristow Stark Faculty Excellence Award is an associate professor of literatures of diversity in the Department of English and Modern Languages, Dr. David McGill. Our second award, the Maud Glenn Rayford Teaching Award. The Rayford Award was established in 1990 by philanthropist J.B. Fuqua of Atlanta, a Prince Edward native, in honor of his 3rd grade teacher, a Longwood alum who died in 1991. It is intended for a faculty member who demonstrates excellence in teaching. The winner this year is an associate professor in the Department of Education and Special Education, Dr. Katrina Maynard. Our next award, the 3rd, is the Maud Glenn Rayford Junior Faculty Teaching Award. The Rayford Junior Faculty Teaching Award is intended to recognize excellence in teaching for a faculty member in his or her 3rd, 4th, or 5th year of full-time teaching here at Longwood. The winner this year is an assistant professor of rhetoric and communication in the Department of English and Modern Languages, Dr. Elif Guler. Our 4th award, the Provost Scholarship Award, is intended for a faculty member who demonstrates excellence in scholarship. The demonstration of scholarly excellence may include, but is not limited to, scholarly publications or accomplishments, presentation of new disciplinary or pedagogical knowledge, public performances or shows, successful development of grants, and serving as an editor or reviewer for professional journals. The winner of this year's Provost Scholarship Award is an associate professor of finance and real estate at the College of Business and Economics, Dr. Shun Bian. Our next award is a particularly sentimental one. The William David Stewart Leadership and Service Award is intended for a faculty member who demonstrates excellence in service activities and who serves as a citizen leader role model for Longwood students. This award honors Communication Studies professor Dr. Bill Stewart, who passed away in 2012. Great friend and mentor to so many here. The winner for this year is a professor in the Department of Social Work, Communication Sciences, and Disorders, Dr. Lissa Power Defer. In 1994, Longwood initiated the Junior Faculty Award to recognize a junior member of the faculty, a person who has been at Longwood for 3 to 5 years. The faculty member must have demonstrated excellence in teaching and scholarship and participation in university activities. The Junior Faculty Award winner for 2018 is an assistant professor in the Department of Biological and Environmental Sciences, Dr. Kathy G. And our final award of the afternoon, the Simpson Distinguished Professorship, which was established in 2015 through a generous gift from Murray S. Simpson Jr. and Cora S. Simpson to recognize and support faculty who have demonstrated a sustained commitment to pursuing outstanding scholarship, resulting in publications, presentations, or creative work in the visual or performing arts. The professorship is awarded annually at Convocation by the President in consultation with the Provost to a tenured faculty member selected from nominations by the academic deans. The recipient is the Simpson Distinguished Professor for the current academic year. The professorship carries a $5,000 summer research stipend and a $5,000 grant to support future scholarship, in addition to a one-course release during the spring semester prior to the summer, in which the faculty member elects to receive the summer stipend. The research grant may be expended over a period of time chosen by the faculty member. This year's recipient of the Simpson Distinguished Professorship is the author of more than 24 publications, along with book chapters, reviews, and other presentations, and has also been prolific in securing research grant funding. One of our growing number of Longwood graduates on the faculty, who has introduced countless Longwood students to the field of archaeology and been an outstanding contributor to the scholarly community in that field, along with being one of the Commonwealth's leading experts in archaeological exploration. In the Longwood academic community, he has served as a longtime department chair and on faculty senate, among many roles since joining the faculty in 1994, now having risen to full professor. He is a citizen leader beyond Longwood's campus as well, having served as a volunteer fireman, a member of the Buckingham County Board of Supervisors, and as a trustee of the Virginia Museum of Natural History. It is my privilege to announce that the newest Simpson Distinguished Professor is Dr. Brian Bates. Let's have another big round of applause for all our award winners. Now, even in hurricane weather, the hot glue guns have been at work. And I sense that the seniors might almost be ready. All right, all right. Provost Ferguson, will you please come forward again with Senior Class President David Gills and his capper Thomas Lewis. Here come the magic words. Here come the magic words. Cappers, please rise. Here are the magic words. By the power vested in me, by virtue of my office, I hereby declare that the members of the great class of 2019 are this day, September 13th, 2018, now officially recognized as seniors and capped accordingly.
All right, can people start bringing it in? Yeah, stop. All right, bring it in. All right. Good afternoon, friends, family, alumni, and of course, the class of 2019. I would like to start off my speech by thanking all of you for electing me as your senior class president and giving me the opportunity to stand here before you. Many of you know that I'm absolutely 100% scared of public speaking, and all my friends are out there in the audience laughing because I'm like shaking right now, how nervous I am. As I was writing my speech, I gathered a lot of thoughts about what I wanted to talk about. Part of me wanted to talk about leaving your legacy at Longwood and what your legacy looked like. Another part of me wanted to talk about preparing for life after college and with a real job, adult bills, and adult responsibilities. And the rest of me wanted to talk about what Longwood has done for me and for all of us. But at the end of the day, and in this current moment, the only thing that could come to my mind was a cookout milkshake. Picture this. It's shortly before 12 a.m. and you're sitting in the atrium of the Greenwood Library trying to study for that big French 201 test, which of course you waited until the last semester of your college to take. Your friends and you decide to go to cookout for that much-needed peanut butter fudge milkshake as a quick study break. You run outside, only bringing your wallets, leaving all your belongings on the table. You and your friends pile into someone's car, head down Griffin Boulevard onto Main, and in the distance, you see the big, bright, red and white sign. You pull up to the window and tell the cashier you have 8 orders, 1 for each person in the cart, and she huffs and reluctantly says, "Go ahead with your first order." You look at the glowing menu, at the 44 flavors of milkshakes, which you can mix and match any way you want. In a way, those 44 flavors are a lot like us. Odd mixtures, perfect combinations, but altogether different. Some of us are the double chocolate milkshake, and some of us are the mint Oreo shake, or the chocolate or banana chocolate chip. But in the end, we're just ice cream with a little bit of flavors. Those milkshakes represent the Longwood community pretty well. We are all different, yes, but we're all Lancers who take our talents and goals and great ideas, and we blend them together to make 1,839 different combinations of what citizen leadership looks like. The experience of eating a cookout milkshake is also a lot like our time here at Longwood. The first bite of your milkshake is exciting and new, just like our freshman year of college, when President Reevely showed up in his jeans and his polo to carry your fridge up 8 flights of stairs in Curry Hall. As you work your way down the cup, the middle of the milkshake is a lot like our sophomore and junior year of college, where we are immersed in the activities and we really begin to find ourselves, much like we begin to really taste the milkshake. As you near the bottom of the styrofoam cup, you really start to think, will you ever be done with this milkshake? But now, we are at the beginning of our senior year, and we're about to take our last bite of our peanut butter milkshake, and we're about to think to ourselves, where did it all go? This last bite is something that we want to savor, but we know that we're going to have to finish this milkshake before it's about to melt. As our senior year begins, I would like to challenge each one of you to savor every bit of this last year of our college experience. I want you to continue to make memories with your friends, reflect on your experiences, and use those experiences to prepare yourself for life after graduation. The people we interact with have an amazing ability to change our lives, and as a cohort of citizen leaders, we have the responsibility to leave this place better than how we founded it 3 years ago. And we have the responsibility as citizen leaders to change the world and to mix things up, fostering new ideas, and to looking at future with dreams and hopes that will become a reality, because we will be graduates of Longwood University. These past 3 years and the dawning of the 4th year of college have gone by so fast, and I am still in disbelief that in 8 months, we will walk across the stage one by one, hopefully a lot drier than the class of 2018, and step into the real world, opening our own cookout franchise or making enough money to buy as many cookout trays as we want. In just 247 days, we'll have reached the last bite of our milkshake and we'll become alumni of this 180-year-old institution that we call home. But what happens on May 19th, it's up to you. Savor the moments, take each bite like it's the last, make memories that you won't forget, and try as many flavors of the cookout milkshakes as you can before we turn the tassel. And go onward to change the world. Thank you, the class of 2019. And let's make this the best last long year Longwood has ever seen.
Thank you, Mr. President. That was wonderful. Let's give another big, big roar for the great class of 2019. And as we conclude today, let me say a couple more thank yous to the faculty marshals, to the junior marshals, especially heroic given the week, to Dr. Gordon Ring and the Wind Symphony for the beautiful music, for everyone for being here. This really has been magnificent, and we will conclude with the alma mater. Please stand and sing along with Lauren Peters of the class of 2019, and then remain standing for the retiring of the colors and the recessional of the platform party. The academic year is officially underway. You may retire the colors.